We are just under 2 weeks away from determining who the next prime minister will be in this country. Polls suggest Liberal leader Mark Carney is in the lead to form a majority government. But we're going to dig deeper into those numbers now with veteran pollster John Wright. John, actually, a couple of polls have come out recently suggesting that the gap is narrowing and it's much tighter than we think, but with maybe 2 points difference. But some polls are suggesting longer. No matter what the polls are saying, you have to look at seat distribution. That's what matters the most. So how do you interpret all of this?
I think when you put it in the meat grinder, what it does show is that the Liberals are way ahead in Atlantic Canada. They have Quebec because the Bloc has collapsed. They're way ahead in Ontario. They're picking up some of the cities in the West. Edmonton would be one in Saskatchewan. Regina would be another one. And then out to the west coast of British Columbia, they're pretty much tied there. So what has happened is the NDP vote has gone away, which means that they are more likely to win a seat where they would have been contested, but also the Bloc has completely collapsed, and that's picking up Quebec. So right now, the Liberals win. And the polls may shift back after the English language debate that we're going to see. So let's see what happens.
Let's talk about the gaps that we're seeing, the East and West, the age gap, the gender gap, but let's start with East and West.
Yeah, it's not surprising that Alberta, Saskatchewan, parts of Manitoba are far more conservative oriented. You can go to different parts of British Columbia and find, outside of the urban areas, they're going to be conservative, where in the urban areas they're going to be liberal, much the same way in Toronto and most of the others that have an urban setting. So that's the difference in terms of geography that you see the most of. In terms of gender, you're seeing more women who are with Mark Carney than they are with Pierre Poilievre. We've seen younger men over with Mark Carney, but more have shifted over in the last couple of weeks or so. But there's a gender difference for sure. In many cases, it's like 60% of women voters are with Mark Carney and 45%, 40% might be over on the other side of the ledger. I think the other thing is the boomers are over with Mark Carney as well. So if you're over the age of 55, you're more likely to vote in that direction. And if you are a younger person, you're more likely to be with the Conservatives. And there are reasons for that. Part of it is the Trump factor. But the other part is that there are young people in this country who haven't got the homes, who have a hard time getting a job, who have seen some things that the Poilievre government would attract to them. And so that's one of the key things there.
Are you worried about the divide between East and West? Do you think it's getting deeper? I mean, you've been studying this for years. Is this country becoming more divided? I
don't think so on a vote basis, because for the last 12 elections that I've dealt with, Alberta is always, much more conservative, and you have conservatives where you'd expect them in other parts of the country. I would say a couple of things. Number one, you may be seeing a social divide, because as I just said, you're seeing older and younger. You're seeing more of a commitment to the conservative brand, where 72% of those voters have said that they're locked down and they're going out to vote for sure, whereas it's soft on the Liberal side, 64%. I think the threat of succession has come up many times in this country.
And it's been resurfacing quite a bit there lately.
And so that's fomenting part of this as well. I do think that the country has changed a lot, especially with immigration over the last few years. But also just the economy has changed a great deal. The promise of Justin Trudeau in 2015 was that young people were going to have a leg up and be able to have the future in front of them. Sunny ways, and they moved towards him. This now is the next part of that generation who says, it's all dark clouds. There's no sunny ways for me.
And
there's a lot of grievance that's driving that vote.
Do you sense any major shifts coming, or are votes pretty much baked in at this point?
Well, I mean, you don't want to say that there could be a big change. The polls have been tightening in the last few days, and a lot of that, in my view, is Donald Trump is not in our grill. I mean, we haven't heard the 51st state. He's quieted down, and that was the main ballot question for the Liberals. So with that happening, I mean, it's softening up, and Mark Carney's negatives are coming up a little bit. But right now, I think, if you were a Liberal, you'd be pretty confident that you're going to win an election, and the question is now just the size of it.
All right, John Wright, Thank you very much, as always. And you're going to be speaking with me on election night. We've got hours to study this.
Looking forward to it.
So am I. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.